On this video, I want to talk about one of my favorite law of attraction techniques that really works. I'm Linda Armstrong, and I am an energy healer and awakening coach. And what I do is I help people to clear subconscious programming that is preventing them from moving forward, stepping fully into their power to create a life that they love. And that's my website, lovemylife.coach. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. And and also I have a free meditation for you. It's reprogramming your subconscious mind. There's a link to it right below. And it's a really great meditation that helps you to release a lot of energy that it might be holding you back, that is created from this sub-personality part of you. Now, we all have these different parts of us running on these old programs. And so we can actually reprogram that and heal some of that energy, releasing it. So anyway, today we're going to talk about law of attraction processes that really work. Okay, so first you have to really get it and understand that everything is vibration. Everything is energy. This body, my computer, my phone, furniture, animals, everything, plants. It's all, everything in your entire existence is made up of little particles of energy, and scientists have looked into the smallest of smallest particles, and when they get down to that very tiniest particle, what's in it? Nothing. It's just nothing. It's just energy. We come from this energy, this universal energy, this energy of love that makes up everything and all things. So just kind of, if you haven't heard that before, just kind of get around to that understanding, or find your way with the fact that everything is energy. So, and if everything's energy, we have the ability to change it. And so it's created out of thought, right? So your thoughts truly create your reality, because they give a direction to those things that you want to create, right? So if you can think of something, it already exists. It exists because you thought of it. And so you can actually shift and direct your attention and your energy to that manifestation that was created in your mind as a thought. I know it goes like back and forth, but that's the way it is, that everything is vibration. Everything. We are just masses of particles of energy. And all of that makes up everything that exists. Everything. We feel it like it's real and it's here, but it's actually just all particles of energy that is created in somebody's mind. And so if you can, everything that was ever created was once a thought, right? So thought begins all creation. And what really directs the thought is the energy that you hold, the vibration that you're holding in your body, right? So if you have this desire and you put it out there, like I have this desire that I'm moving to Arizona. So it's out there, it's in my future. I know it's going to happen. I don't really know the details, but I know that as I hold the vibration, that energy of actually being there, that it can be created. So I want to prove that to you today with this one process that I find really works. And I'll give you an example of mine. So you may have heard me speak about this before, but it's future appreciation and gratitude. Right? So I have a gratitude journal, and I'll write, 5 to 10 things that happened during the day that, actually really happened in my today existence. And I write them down, feeling in my body the gratitude for it, or the appreciation for it, just holding the energy of this event, this thing, this something that happened, doing that as I write it down, right? And that's easy because you already felt it. It actually happened. And you write it down. But then you flip the page, and on the back side, I'll do another 5 to 10 appreciation, gratitude statements. But this time, these are statements of the things that I want to create in my life, right? So I put the thought out there on paper. So I'm taking it out of my mind, putting it into the manifest material world on this piece of paper, writing out what this desire is. And you make up stories. And it didn't happen yet. We know that. But you pretend it did. So I'll give you an example. So the house that I'm living in now, I moved in and needed a lot of work. So we did new windows, new siding, carpeting in the bedrooms, granite, redid the bathrooms, landscaping, fencing, lots of stuff, right? The one thing that we didn't get to was the driveway, which was really a crumbly mess with a lot of potholes. And it's a pretty big driveway. So that wasn't happening yet. I wasn't going to go into debt to make that happen. I really tapped out on everything that I could do to the house. But I had in my mind, I had a quote. The quote was for $8,000 to have the asphalt put down on my driveway, to repave it. So what I decided to do, I learned about this process about future appreciation. So I started future appreciating it. Like I would write down stories. I make up these little stories. Like, wow, my neighbor came over today and told me how nice my house looks now that the driveway's done. It felt really good. I was happy that somebody else appreciated it as much as I did. So I'm writing this down, right? I wrote down stories about, the guys out there were working so hard today. I brought them snacks and I brought them drinks and they were really grateful. And I felt really good to do that while they're creating this beautiful new driveway for me, So I'm writing stories like that. Then I'm writing, so I live in New York. In the winter you have to shovel the driveway or plow it, right? So, but when you're shoveling it, I'd be shoveling my driveway and I'd hit one of those potholes and you get stabbed in the stomach by the shovel, right? Because shovel stops, you're still going. It's just horrible, right? It was just no fun. So instead of that story that I've actually lived, I wrote a new story. And this story was how it was like gliding on skates as I'm shoveling my driveway, just so smooth. And I'm talking about this experience, about how much fun it was. Like I'm making up little stories, little gratitude stories. I have all sorts of stories like that. And sometimes 3 days later, I'd repeat the same story. It didn't matter. Right? So say you run out of stories to say, although I came up with lots of them, because you're a very creative person, right? You get into that little kid mind and you can just create. So, but I would repeat some of the same stories. I would just hold the energy of it every time I wrote it down. And I have to tell you, with not even had to be like less than 2 months. I was home one day. At the time I was just getting into all of this coaching with law of attraction, and I wasn't even into healing work yet at all. All of this manifested as we went along. But I was home. I have a karate school. It was on a Friday, and we didn't have any classes, so I was just home. And out of the blue, right? There's no such thing as out of the blue. Everything happens for a reason. But in my, back then it was like out of the blue. Some guy knocks on my door, and I look outside and I see this guy, and he was really kind of scruffy looking, like kind of dirty looking. My husband was home, so, and also I know I'm nobody's victim. I don't hold victim energy. I have a background in karate. I know how to defend myself. When you don't hold an energy that matches something like, so I'm not worried about it, right? Anyway, I opened the door for this guy, and he says to me, I see your driveway could use some work. I just did a job down the road and I have a truck full of leftover asphalt. I would love to do your driveway and I can do it for $2 a square foot. So I'm like, oh really? Okay. Meet me out back. So I close the door, right? And I go to my husband. I'm like, you're not going to believe this. The universe is knocking on the door. There's a guy, he says we can do this asphalt for the driveway for $2 a square foot, and then he'll walk with me and see how much I can afford to. I'm going out there. This universe is talking. I gotta go talk to this guy. So I go out there. My husband, he knows what I'm into, and he's like, yeah, go for it. So I go outside. I'm talking to this guy, and he's showing me like how much to do. And meanwhile, I have no money to do any of this, right? I don't have the money to do this, but here's the universe knocking on my door. So I'm like, well, I gotta just follow through and see, what's the possibilities here. So he's telling me like 2,500 to get to halfway, and I'm like, well, how much so to do the whole thing is 5,000? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I'll be right back. I go back inside. I'm telling my husband, I'm like, you know what? I had the quote for 8,000. It was a couple of years ago. Now here it is, 5,000 to do the whole thing. And he'll start it today. And I got to find a way to do this. So I had my wheels start spinning, and I decided something I would have never done. I called my dad, and I'm like, Dad, you think you can loan me 5,000 for a couple of months? I can definitely pay it back over a few months. He's like, sure. Now, I would have never called my dad and asked him for that, like I don't want to tap into his retirement money from my driveway. At the time when I was doing all that other work in my house, I just let it be. But now here this guy came, and I'm like, I got to make it work. And so you know what I did? I told him yes. He started doing the work. I told him I have a check for him tomorrow. He was coming back to finish it the next day. I went got a check from my dad. But done. Driveway done. By the next day, fully completed. But the truth, what I want you to get is, it didn't get created until I started writing it down. I needed to have it done, but I just put it out of my mind. I'm not doing it. I can't afford to do it. That's what my story was. I can't afford to do it. Well, when I learned about this process, I decided to change the story. Right? I talk about that all the time. You change the story. But the thing is, I felt the story. And I've told stories about how I've done that with getting my 3rd degree black belt, different things like that. Maybe I'll put some clips to some of these things within the video that you can click on. So I'm kind of rambling now. I get kind of lost in the story because I'm really excited. I mean, it was such a good... I've done it, other things that I've written down in my gratitude journal as if I already had it, and then it came true. But this one, to me, I like to share because it was the most feeling of like out of nowhere this came. Because some guy, scruffy guy, never seen before, knocks on my door. Next thing you know, my driveway's done. You just can't beat that, So, all right. So I guess I'm just going to kind of leave it there, that this is so possible. And really, all that journal is doing is helping you. It's a tool to help you to hold the vibration. You can hold the vibration many ways. You can just live in daydreams all day long, like in the morning, at night. You're waiting in line at the grocery store. Use that time. Start dreaming up a story. Pretend that you're already living it. I'm driving around New York. I drive around New York as if I'm driving in Arizona, right? As if I can see the different scenery. Or I don't even know how I create that, but I know the feeling of. I lived in California before. I probably put some of that energy in about what it might feel like to be in Arizona, but it doesn't even matter. It's whatever I decide it is, right? So whatever the feeling is that I assign to the desire is what I'm going to feel. And by feeling that, because it's associated, that vibration, to that desire, then I have to step forward to it. It just has to be. It's just the way it is. So have fun with that. Use that tool of the gratitude appreciation journal. Start it off by doing those 5 to 10 that actually happened. Feel them again as you write them down, how much you really truly appreciated what this was that happened throughout your day. Flip that page and start living the fantasy of a desire. It doesn't have to be the page for that one desire. I might be working on 3 desires at a time, feeling the stories of all these different things, all this great stuff that's happening in my life. It's there. It's on paper. It exists in the physical by being placed, written down on that piece of paper, but it's living in the vibration because that's what I'm holding. And if you hold that vibration, it will definitely come. And we prove that all the time when we hold those fearful vibrations and we get stuck in a place we don't want to be because we keep feeling the energy of that place we don't want to be. You're just going to stay there. It's all about vibration, and I'm going to share different tips and tools on how you can play with being in the vibration that actually you really want, that you really wish to live, right? Okay. So again, I invite you to download that free meditation so you can start working on that subconscious programming that could be standing in the way of achieving a desire of yours. And please subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see you on another video.